I had lost money. I had lost my wife. I lost my grandfather. I felt lost, and I hated doing what I was doing. I was making less than $250 a week bring home, but I was spending 6 days a week doing it, working on a Saturday, servicing one convalescent home down on Fayette Street in downtown Baltimore. But Monday through Friday, 13 and a half hours. Would you do that? No, most people wouldn't. But I was initially thinking, if I can learn everything about this business, make money, I'll buy my own machines, my own vending machines, and I'll know everything about this business that I'm looking at it as I'm paying tuition. Just like, I guess it would be considered like a intern, where you're not really getting paid, you're just there to get the experience, which is very expensive, by the way. But I felt defeated. I felt like I was at my wit's end, and I had lots of books, I had lots of things in my head, but I couldn't make that stuff in retail stuff work. It just, every time I got into a trade, either I would be scared because I lost money before, I lost an account, or I would be immediately stopped out. And it was very, very discouraging. And while I didn't have a gun, I probably would have hurt myself if I had one then. I felt like I was being invited many times driving over that Key Bridge. Like I just want to whip the wheel over there and just go off the edge of it. Well, the day I was in the stop right before going across the Key Bridge, and I would go to Telco, which was a stop that didn't make a whole lot of money, but I hated going to it. I figured, well, once I service that one, I'll be going over the Key Bridge, and then I'm going to do it today. I'll probably pass out on my way down. I probably won't feel anything, but nobody's going to miss me. And that's the depth of where I was. Nobody could have reached me. There was no cell phone, no text messages to encourage me not to do it. And I didn't tell anybody I was going to do it. Because listen, folks, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. People that talk about doing it, they just want someone to say, I love you, don't do that. They don't want to really hurt themselves. But that day I did. I felt empty, worthless. I looked at my history. My own parents didn't want anything to do with me. And the only person that looked at me like a son was my grandfather. He was gone. I had no direction in life. And yes, I believed in God, but that wasn't enough at the time. And I needed to feel some kind of purpose, some reason to be here, because there was no reason for me to want to be here. I got on the Key Bridge, got on the right lane, got to the top, stopped. Put my hazards on. I said, it would be terrible for me to take this truck and hurt this company. They'd have to pay for that damage. I'm just going to go off of it. It only takes me a second to get up there. I'm just going to step off, and that's it. Once I'm over, it's over. I can't stop it. And again, I'll probably pass out before I hit. And I don't know why that day. What was I didn't wake up that morning and think it. It was while I was working. While I was working and thinking about what I was doing and how I felt trapped doing that. And I didn't see an out. I never drank alcohol. I never did drugs. But I was not in the right state of mind that day. Something said, Go home and don't think about it. So I'm sitting there. People are beeping their horn at me, giving me the finger going by. You a-hole, what's that? You know, whatever. Typical Baltimore. So I started the truck again, went to the stops, finished my route. Didn't hang out like I usually did with my employer. Drove home, numb, no radio. Didn't lift weights that day. Went in, got a shower, didn't eat. And I sat in there and I stared at my computer. But I sat there, looked at all the books I had bought, and remembered all the hopes I had in waiting for them to arrive. And all the trips that I drove out to Columbia, Maryland, to the Traders Library, which was I'm not even sure if it's even a place anymore. I'm not sure if it even exists. Now that I'm thinking about it, when I'm done here, I'm going to have to Google it and see if the Traders Library still exists. But I used to go out there every week, and I'd buy something. I paid $50 a week, room and board at my aunt and uncle's house. Same uncle that inspired me to get into trading when I was 14 and 15 years old, but it wasn't interested because I was in the martial arts, and that's all I cared about then. Just like anybody else, like kids, you know, they ain't gonna listen to you, even though you have the right instructions and guidance. You don't want to listen. And just like many of you, you're like my children. Some of you are probably older than me, but you still act like a child. You don't listen to good advice. And some of you act like that I had no adversities, like it was just too easy for me. It was unfair. Everything worked out for me. You have no idea the darkest corners of where I was, where I came from. I didn't have the courage to do what I said I was going to do when I got on that bridge. But something inspired me to go home and stop thinking about that. And when I got home that evening, I pulled out the price charts, which was a weekly service that was I got it for the financials and the agricultural markets. And it was ran by Nick Van Nice. He's the guy that you know as a hidden divergence or trend following divergence in stochastics. He's the guy that codified that. George Lane didn't do that, and nobody else ever did either. And me and Larry Williams are the only ones that ever give that guy credit for that. But he had a service that, as a commodity trader, we updated our charts by hand. And I pulled out the charts. I was looking at them, and it just looked like Greek to me. Like I was disconnecting. Like I wasn't interested in it anymore. For the first time, I looked at these things and said, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I can't see what it is that I'm supposed to see. And I just basically at my wit's end, I said, you know, God, I never really invited you into this. But I feel broken. I feel like I have no worth. And I don't want to be here. I was never more interested in anything else in my life prior to that day than I was in the markets. And in that day, I was ready to disconnect everything. And I just laid it on the line. I said, I know you exist. I know you've been with me, and I know I'm here because of you. But why? Like, what do I have to show for it? Like, I work so hard at this, and I can't get it to work. So I said, I'm going to ask you something. And you know my heart right now, and I mean it. If you open my eyes and my understanding, I swear I'll spend the rest of my life helping other people do it. I closed the charts and I laid there. I cried until I went to sleep. It wasn't until that weekend I grabbed the charts again. I started looking through them. I was just literally looking at them, having no understanding of what it was I was going to look for. Nothing. And I thought about what I had asked, and I hear, look. I'm looking around the room. Now I'm crazy because now I'm imagining things because that's what I want it to happen. I'm looking at the market, looking at the chart. I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, why would it go up from there? Mind you, I'm only looking at longs. I was afraid of going short. I didn't understand selling something I don't have. And I would look at these rallies and these points of inception where the market starts to go up, and it was like, it's like reading a foreign language you've never learned before. It's like, what am I looking at? Like, what do I know by looking at that? Look at that. My attention would go to somewhere else on the chart. And I already know that some of you are thinking, this isn't happening. I don't care. I'm not monetizing this. I'm not preaching to you. But some of you want to know. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm undeserving. I think the only reason why he let me see these things is because I asked that I would be gifted that way I could service. I serve with this information. Because to be honest with you, listen, prior to that day, if it would have been given to me, I would have selfishly kept it. You never would have learned any of this. And I would be an egotistical maniac, living a life that would just be about me. And I believe because he knew my heart, I was broken. And that's what he has to do sometimes. He lets people get to that point because nobody reaches out to him until they're hurting. Think about it. If you've ever asked God of anything, you didn't ask God of anything because you were at the height of anything that you found success in. And how often do you invite him in to thank him for allowing you to get there? If God exists, he wouldn't allow suffering. He has to do it because we're stubborn. I was. He put this in me as a young man. And then when I tried to do it my way, I couldn't do it. And when I changed my perspective into, I want to be rich by the time I'm 40, to, I want to learn how to do this well. And if you gift me with it, I will spend my life serving others with it. And I think that's the kind of prayer he likes to answer. I'm not claiming to know how he thinks, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me. And then when I would study, I would be by myself. No radio, no television, nobody coming in to disturb me. That still quiet voice. Look here. Look here. I would ask questions that would rise up in me without even saying it vocally. And it would be, my eye would go here and the same voice would be, look here. It's the same voice that said, pull the door in front of you. It's the same voice that told me the weight of my son Cameron before he came out and we videotaped it. I could sit here and tell you dozens of things where outside of trading, outside of money, he's intervened. Everything I told everyone in 2016 that we all watched and endured, like, at the time when I was saying it, I didn't know where it was coming from. But I spoke it, and it happened. I said Trump would be used as a fall guy, and the world economies would be affected by it, and America would be Venezuela 2.0. And we are seeing the early stages of that. I'm not going to go any more in that because they'll probably turn me off again, but you might call it a visit. You might call it out of this world. Many of you are going to think it's made up, and that's fine. But I've already said, I got $5 million that says none of you can find what I've been teaching existed in print, audio format, or video format before 1996. And nobody that ever says I've rebranded anything can come with the receipts. The social media just gives us this ability to feel like we can say anything we want. And there's a large populace of the community and people that use social media will believe anything that's said without doing any investigation on their own. You can't time the markets, and I'm showing you every week. I'm showing you things that have always been in price, but has never been shown to you.